Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Okay, so in today's session, we are going to explore library. You can say package as well. So, which is very important. As you know, like Python is versatile language, and when means we need to handle some data, large data set, or any complex calculation, or just want to do some analysis. We need data, right? So that data we need to manipulate, analyze. So that data might be numerical data, then sequence data. So in today's session we are going to explore two libraries called as a numpy and pandas. Okay, so numpy is for numerical computation, means whether you are working with DNA sequence or protein structure or any form of large scale data. NumPy allows you to do efficiently perform mathematical operations. Okay, mathematical operations on what? On like arrays, matrices. So arrays, matrices, I think these words are familiar with you, right? So imagine like you want to slice mm, a huge amount of data, like sequence data in seconds. So definitely there is a Python definitely helps you in that. And when we can use pandas, so pandas is basically, it's like a simply we can say it's like a Swiss knife for data manipulation. Swiss army knife we can consider, because when we want to deal with data set which data is very messy, which is very complex, or in size as well, it is very huge, large data set. So by using pandas library, in that library there are many functions for cleaning, for filtering, for analyzing. So this definitely make it easy our task. Okay, so for genomic data annotation, or if you're just handling large data set in the form of CSV file, then text file, xlx file. Okay, so for that all thing we can use these packages. So first thing, you need to understand what is array, matrix, and data frame. Okay, in data structure we already learned these different numerical data types. Okay, so these are all array is also multi-dimensional. Fine. Multi-dimensional means there are multiple dimensions along with rows and column. Okay. So let's see. When we are using NumPy, the first is for numerical calculation or numerical. This is very fundamental library actually for numerical computing. Means multi-dimensional array, matrices, and any collection of mathematical functions we can use to operate these all arrays. Like what? So NP, we can use this as a short alias name NP for NumPy. With NP, you can use array function. So basically, array is used to create array with a Python list or tuple in any form. Then there is, along with NP, you can use zeros function. So function comes with parenthesis. So in zeros, what you can do, you can create a specified shape for that array. Then there is ones function. If you want to create arrays of ones, only ones, then you can use np dot ones, np arrange, np line space. Then if you want to specify dimension, means how many row, what number of rows or columns you want to generate, so there is a function you can use reshape. Okay, so reshape basically, without changing your array, you can reshape the structure. Then mean, median, what are these are all statistical functions you can use with NumPy. Mean, median, and a standard deviation, sum, minimum, maximum. There are many more like unique, split. If you want to divide the data, then you can use split multiple times. So multiple sub arrays will generate. Okay, so this is all about NumPy. In pandas, pandas is basically for panel data. So panel data means its structure looks like a data frame having rows and columns. So there are two types of structures we can handle in pandas. First is series. Series is one dimensional, and second is data frame. This is in pandas. Okay. So as I told, we are working in cloud, right? So no need to use pip install because libraries are pre-installed in this environment. So how to check, or if you want to install or work with any of this package, then how to work? So this command you can use like pip install, and let's use any package name, either pandas or numpy, to check. So here I'm using, let's try numpy first. Execute. So check the message. It's written requirement already satisfied. Means what? It's already installed. So no need to install. Okay, you can import whenever you require. So how to import? Just write import and then name of the package. So import, here we want to import numpy, but numpy better you can use alias. It is recommended here numpy as np. Just use this. So when you use this, import this, you can call numpy. By calling numpy means np, you can call different functions, like by just providing dot, you'll get a list of all functions. If you want to create arrays, you can try a, like this, you'll get all suggestions. As we are looking for arrays, so we can select the first option. So by this way, you can generate array. Even you can try second, or on next line, let's try numpy dot, let's create a zeros. So here zeros function. Okay, so like this you can use different functions from numpy. Clear? How to use numpy? Similarly, here I am importing one more library called as a pandas. So no need to install, but if you want to make a note for just your understanding, you can create here or comment these lines for pandas. Installation part is not required. Now import this pandas as PD. PD stands for pandas. So again, when we call pandas, PD dot, as I told, there are two types of structure we can work, like series and data frame. So here you'll get series and also data frame. Pandas dot data frame. Clear? So series is one dimension. This is 1D, where data frame, it's two dimensional structure. And uh, in with numpy we are creating arrays, so arrays are multi-dimensional. Okay, so let's create one array itself. Okay. So here let's generate an array. So for that we need numpy package, so we need to call numpy and call function array. Inside that you can provide elements, so for that element we can generate an array. So either you can provide directly or vector or list. So here I'm providing list of elements, suppose 4 elements I've given, and then call array1 is the name of our variable. Okay, so this is array. And to check if you want, or you can also check type, as we already learned to check structure type, we can call type function. Okay, so this is created with help of numpy. That's why we are getting this numpy dot n dimensional array. Nd means n dimensional array. Okay, so if you want to generate a two dimensional array, or any dimension, so we have to provide that dimension as an input. Okay, or we can generate a new array structure with help of existing array. Like here we have array underscore 1, right? Now I'm multiplying this with 2, or take a square, so we'll get this. You can check the existing original element value, and this is the new one. Okay, now let's generate a two-dimensional array. So for that, let's create one variable, or 2D we can mention, call numpy, call array, and here you can provide the data. So this is, suppose let's take same data set. This is my one dimensional information, and I want to add one more, so provide comma and one more, but is all should be in one container. Okay, so for that let's add one bracket, means as a list we can create this two data set inside. Check array 2D like this. Okay, so this is about arrays. You can try different functions like zeros, ones. For ones as well, you need to provide the dimension, and it will provide you all uh, ones values only in that array. Now, let's generate one data pattern. Suppose this data is a variable which hold four values. So for these four values, if you want to create a matrix of 2 by 2, or if you want to use pandas library to create a series, then how to create? Because a series, as I told, it is a one dimensional structure. So let's check. Let's generate one series itself. So to store that series, here I'm creating series underscore one as a variable. Call this PD. PD is for pandas library, and then function we need, that is series. So input we have to provide the one which we have created right now. Execute. PD is not defined. Let me execute this line. Okay, then it will work. First we need to import, then only we can use that. So now series is ready. So let's check how it is executing. So you can see, as it is one dimensional, so only one column, and these are the index values, like four values are there. But here by default it is showing 0 1 2 3. There is no name or any label for that index, so we need to provide externally index, means that label. Or if let's check first type of this. Okay, so here you'll get, this is because, why pandas? Because we have fetched this PD package, pandas, then core series. So here you can see data which we have provided, and all of the parameters. So label need not be unique, but must be hashable type. Hashable means it's like a bucket, beans. Okay, now check this data which we use. So it's a simple list which is in square bracket. Okay, now if we want to, as it is index data structure, so we can fetch by using index value. So from this series, suppose we want to fetch first element, so we need to use square bracket for fetching an index id. So we'll get a first element like this. Okay, now let's execute this series, and then we are going to add index value for that. Okay, so let's add index. So for adding index, we need same data, or let's copy the same thing. This is our series, so let's take it in new cell, and along with data, because if we just execute the same thing, we'll get like this same result. But here we need to replace this 0 1 2 3. So we can add one more parameter that is called as a index. You can see here index. Okay, so let's call parameter index. So as there are total 4 elements, so we need to provide 4 labels. So either you can provide numerical labels or you can provide characters. So as it is numerical already, so let's change it. Or if you are working with any data, so you can provide that name like gene 1, gene 2, or sample 1, sample 2, like this. Execute and then call this. Okay, so you can see this ABCD is replaced with 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, now I'll provide you one simple data. So with that data we can generate a data frame, and then we are going to manipulate that data. So as you all are aware about data structure, right? So dictionary we already learned. Dictionary is in the form of key and value pair. So key must be unique, but value you can either add one single value or you can add multiple values, right? So here I am giving you one data or dictionary data in chat box. You can use the same. So just copy that data and execute in cell like this. Here you can see data is the name of this, like a variable which hold is dictionary data. So here gene 1, gene 2, sample 1, so these are all and the associated values are there. So as there are 6 genes, so we supposed to add 6 samples as well. 1 2 3 4 5 6, yeah. Okay, so let me execute this and we can check by calling this variable. Okay, or if you want to check what exactly format of this, so we can call date type function and then check the type of this. So it is a dictionary form, right? So now if you want to convert this dictionary into table form, table in the sense having rows and columns, so definitely we have to change this in data frame. So directly we can call through pandas library because panda having function data frame. So how to call this? So first as we create series, similarly here we can call panda. So for that here I'm creating one variable to store that data frame as a df, or you can give any name. Data frame call pd and then call data frame function. Get this one. Here you need to provide the data set which is by the name data we have created already. Execute this and let's check how it looks like in data frame format. Okay, so this data which we have in dictionary structure, it is now converted into table. Okay, this is about the like the data which you have. But yeah, if you don't have data and you want to generate for simulation purpose, then you can take help of numpy package, and by using arrange function you can generate your own data, simulate for simulation or just for demo purpose. As like suppose here I'm creating one variable. Let's create a data for 20 elements total, but we don't have that data, so call numpy, call arrange function. Inside that you need to provide from to where. So let's start from 0 to 20 elements, so we can divide it into accordingly. So array we can create. So let's create this. Check arr. Okay, so these are the elements, but here we are not getting exactly a rows and column and everything, like the dimensions we are not getting. So what we can do, one more parameter we can add here, or that's called as a we can call function, basically not parameter. So here I'm calling reshape. So reshape means dimension you can mention. So first value is always for rows. So let's cover, as there are total 20 elements, we can create 4 by 5 or any combination you can create. Let's create 5 by 4, means 5 rows, 4 columns. So if you have data in the array form, still you can convert the data into matrix, and then for matrix you can label as well. Label means like matrix don't have row name and column name, but in data frame you'll get all things. Okay. So one by one, step by step, you can convert that as well. So here we have this reshaped array. Now let's use how to use data frame, which package we need to call numpy or pandas to generate a data frame. We have created here already. Let's see which package is required. Pandas. Okay. So call now pandas for the same data with this data. Create a variable, call pd, call function, and then provide the data. So this you can use. And one more thing you can do. Suppose you want to save that data for reuse, like you want to create a CSV file with help of data which you have. So that also you can do, like with help of data, or let's execute data first and then let me check. So this data which we already created, this data we want to generate in the form of, we want to save in the form of CSV. So whenever we want to read something, so we can use read underscore CSV function for reading purpose. But when we want to save, okay, means importing and exporting. So here we want to export the data, we want to save the data, so we need to use to function, to underscore. So to underscore, there are different types, different file formats you can see here. Either you can just save to clipboard, or in the CSV file, dictionary, Excel, HTML, JSON, LaTeX form. Okay, so many formats are there. So in CSV form, if you want to save, use to underscore CSV. So the same data when you want to read, you need to use function read underscore CSV. Okay, then only that data is readable. Inside that, the name which you want to provide, that you can write. Let's give data itself with extension. Okay, so here we can see, and then dot CSV. Also, if you want to read that data with help of index, then you can keep this true, otherwise you can keep this false. So here you can see how to write this. Let's provide index, and I'm not keeping true. Okay, so this data is generated. You can double click and check in the new window. Okay, now a new cell, let me open this file. So if you want to save this with new name, you can create a new variable name. Here I am using same name, then call panda, then call read, because we want to read this data. Read in what form our data is exist, so it is in CSV file. So read in the CSV file format, and then which data you want to read, that provide here in uh, file handling. We learn this, right, how to copy file and all. So execute. Now invalid syntax, okay, because there is missing code. Now we have read the data and it is stored in the variable df. So call that variable, or you can use print function to execute the result. Okay. If your data set is very huge, very large, and it is not possible to visualize in this window here itself. So you can use head and tail function for that data. Like the data frame name is df, whatever name you have given, just use that name, call head function. Okay, it will provide 6 lines. Here anyways we have this 6 lines means what? This 5 lines for the result and 1 line for the header. Okay, so here you can see 0 1 2 3 4, 5 lines for the output and one as a header. Similarly, for tell also you'll get 5 lines from bottom along with header line. So here you can see 5 4 3 2 1, 0th row is missing, and if there are hundreds of rows, then only from last 5 rows we can see by using tail and header line. Now for this, as it is a numerical values, all numerical values, and if you are looking for summary, like what exactly, suppose for this sample, which gene is expressed high, or what is the count, total count, mean value, standard deviation, or any statistical calculation like 25th quartile, 50th quartile, okay, maximum. So these all statistical things you'll get by calling describe function. For the df is nothing but our data frame. Why I'm using df always? Because this data is stored in this variable and the variable name is df. So df describe, that's it. Execute. Okay, so this summary you'll get. Yeah, now back to the this array here. Yeah, so we have created this array, and as I told, it is a array, or there is no index, there is no column name, row name. So yeah, we can add that externally by using function index and by using parameter index and column. So how to use that? So let me paste this thing here. So what we can do, let's create data frame itself. So let's data frame as a variable name, and the same data we are going to use by the name data. Okay, let me combine this. So here you can use pandas data frame. Okay, so for that, let's let me call pd like package and data frame function from pd data frame. So for this data which is stored in data variable, we are going to convert into data frame. But for that data frame, let's add row name and column name, because let's, if I execute this, what we are getting 0 1 2 3 0 1 2 3 4, because we have generated 5 by 4 matrix, right? But now let's add one more parameter, index. So index is for row. So let's, there are 5 rows, so we need to add 5 indices. So let me take it on new line. As there are more than one value, so create a list of indices. So here I'm creating, suppose this is gene 1, copy. Okay, so there are total 5 rows, so I have created 5 index values. Okay, check the parameter parenthesis and all and execute. Okay, so here it is gene 1 to 5. Now as there is no column or no heading, so we can add that as well by using attribute called as a by using parameter called as a columns. Here it is. So how many columns are there? That many values you need to add. So let's create for sample 1. Okay, like this. Execute. Okay, so you can create array, you can reshape that array, and then you can use PDs to generate a data frame with help of that data, raw data. Okay, to get information about this all data, you can call info function, like data frame name is df, so dot info to check all information. Here you'll get a summary like index 5 entries, a name, then how many columns, and then this all. Not null means they all are filled. This is all memory allocation. Even you can check type by calling type function for this data frame. So it will show pandas core data frame. You can check that. Now from this, if you want to fetch something, okay, like suppose there are total 4 columns. We don't require 4 columns. We just want to fetch only 2, and for that too we want to create a one small data frame. So that also possible. Suppose here I am creating new variable, that is data frame 1. So from which data frame you want to fetch columns? So write the name of existing data frame. From that, if we are fetching only one, like the one name is sample 1. Okay, execute, call df1. You can see, so this is only one column for 5 rows. So what exactly this is? Is this index structure? Is this a series structure or data frame? Because series is one dimensional, data frame is two dimensional, right? But here we have fetched one column from existing data frame. So what exactly this is? Any guess? Or you can execute and check. For that you need to call type function and check. So what we are getting, this is pandas core series, not data frame. Okay, but now here I am using one more sample, means 2 column we want to fetch, suppose sample 4. Okay, so there is an error. Why there is error? You can read this error. If we have a list like key, then if it is a list which includes 2 values, okay, means we need to add here one more bracket. Okay, and then before checking type, let's first execute the, oh, one more mistake. Yeah, now you can see here we fetch sample 1 and sample 4, means first and fourth column and all rows, and this is a data frame 1. Now let's check it's still series or now it is data frame. Okay, so now this is not no more series, it is converted as a data frame because there are more than one column. This is not a one dimensional data, this is a table like structure. Okay, and if you want to fetch rows, then you need to specify location. There is a loc, that is df dot loc, and then provide your which row you want to fetch. So here suppose we are fetching gene 2 or 3, simply we'll get that specific gene for all samples. As there are 4 samples, so 4 values we are getting. Here you can check for gene 3 means here, okay, this is something different data. Here you can check. Okay, So you'll get this. But along with this, if you want one more row, so similarly, you need to enclose this in list. So let's call 5 number. Okay, so this is sub part. Along with this, in case you want some random means IDs like 2 to 4 rows and 0 to 2 columns, like this means any uh, dimension you can provide here. So for that also you can use LOC. So how to provide dimension? Here you need to provide in square bracket. First value is always for row. So let's fetch from 2 to 4. So it will 2 to 4 means what all rows are there? 2, 3, 4 or 3, 4. Which one? Because these all parts we already done in data structure. If you missed this, please go and check recordings and practice. And let's mention, suppose we want first two columns. Okay, if it is first two columns, then we can provide dimension like from 0 to 2. Okay, let's execute. S- Not to slice indexing. Okay, so need to provide here location. Let me try. Yeah. So here is this. Yeah. So now one more thing, like if you want to generate data, simulated data by using random, or you just want a repeatedly same data. Okay, so same data set you want to execute, uh, which is generated by random function. So for that you need to set seed. So first we need to call np, then call random function, and then seed. Seed is for just setting. Seed means we can reproduce the same data again and again. So here inside bracket, inside this seed, you can write any number like 1, 2, 3, then any number 40, 10. So this is just for setting seed. Clear? Let me write it here 1, 2, 3. Execute. So basically by this syntax NP random seed, it ensures reproducibility of random numbers. That random numbers which are generated by that NumPy package. Okay. So here you can try with 0, you can try with any other number. So definitely you ensure that every time you run this code, you'll get the same random numbers every time. So this is crucial for reproducible research. And if you want to debug anything, that time you can prefer this. Now next step, as we have set our seed, okay, for reproducibility. So let's create a data. So for data, we need again NumPy, as we want to generate a random data. So call random, and there is a function called as a rn that we can call here, and then provide the dimension. So dimension means like how many rows, how many columns, or what matrix dimension you want to generate that random number. So we can simulate the gene expression level. Okay. Also we can define the scale. Scale means what? Like it will create a numbers from initially 0.0 to the highest boundary is 1. So for that, let's provide here, let's generate the same dimension 5 by 4, and here 100. Okay, so this is like multiply by 100 scale, means these numbers to range from or let me write it here in comment so you'll get idea. So it will start from 0 0.0, start and end. Clear? 1.02. Let me write it like this. Clear? So the numbers whatever generate by using this 5 by 4, they are from 0 0.0 to 1.0. That all float number range. And when we multiply this by 100 scale, so they are, let's execute and check. So to visualize these all numbers, what we can do, we can create a variable so that numbers will be saved in that variable. As we want to generate a expression data, so let's provide the same name. Okay, so we can call that variable. So here you can see minimum number starts with 0, 0 point something, like here it is 39, and then maximum is 95. Yes, 95. So this is the range we have provided, and this is the random data, reproducible random data. Right? If we miss this first step, like if we comment this and if we generate the data without seed, so what will happen? Every time we'll get a different data set. Okay, you can observe the data when I execute. It is 60. When I execute, I'll get 57. So as many times I'm executing, that many times we'll get a new data. So to ensure the reproducibility, we need to set the seed. Again, here the same variable I'm calling, like this is gene expression data. So as I set the seed, so I'll get the same data anywhere I'll call this. Clear what is the use of set seed function? Now this is again array. So for this array, we don't have row name and column name. So we can add this by calling index and sample. So for that you can rename, like create two variables to store row names and variable names. So or let it create here itself. Let me copy from your somewhere. Yeah. Okay. So rather than writing gene, what we can do, we can create one variable here. Suppose these are all genes by the name gene 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are suppose samples. Okay. So there are two different lists. Okay, one list is by the name genes and one list samples. Now these two lists we have, these two lists we can use inside this data. So how to use, like we have already this line, means gene expression values or gene expression data, but here we are going to use pandas library, because, or let's create these two inside here itself, so it's easy to understand. So call pd from pandas, call data frame. Okay, and here we can provide this data which we have, no need to change name. Then provide one parameter called index. For index you can provide the variable which hold all gene list. So here you can see these are genes. Okay, and second parameter is columns. So for columns we can provide these four columns. Okay, that's it. So multiple times we can uh, reuse this data set anywhere we need this. That's why I've created separately. Otherwise, similarly, we have to add here list of genes and list of samples. Execute this. Okay, like this. And now call this data, this variable to check the outcome. Okay, so you can see here row name and column name appear. Now the same code you can copy if you want one more data set. What you can do, you can copy the same code if you want to provide some new name. So you can provide like this is a gene expression data. You can use this as a gene expression data 1. Just need to change name here also because this is the data set. Okay. And then change the seed. So you'll get a different data set. If you want to generate a multiple data set, so this way you can generate. Now, what else we can do with a panda? So here you can generate or you can check the date range. So date also you can use. So for that, suppose we are looking for date. Let's call PD. From PD, you can generate a range of date. So by calling date underscore here, you'll get date range option. So for that, you need two parameters: from where to start, how many periods you want, and if you want to specify any time zone, you can generate. So let's start with today's date itself. Start parameter, provide date 24, 28. What's today's date? 7. Okay, and then one more parameter you can provide, that is how many periods you want. Then there is a time zone. If you want to provide any time zone, you can use, otherwise just keep the default. Call this variable to check the generated data. Okay, like this you can check. Also you can use string, and that string you can convert as a data or as a CSV file. String means what? Whatever included in a quotes, right? So suppose you want to work with string data in the form of CSV file. So first thing you need to import string IO, and that string IO is from there is a package called as a IO. So you need to call first from input output. We need to import string IO. So string IO, input output. So for that, first thing you need to generate data, string data, and then that data you can convert by using string IO function into CSV file format, and then you can read that file. Okay, let me show otherwise, or let me take one data which is in the string file format. Okay, so here you can see it is a string having name, age, and country. String means whether it is single quote, double quote, triple quote, it considered as a string. Okay, execute this data and then call this variable to check the string. So this is a string. You can see hyphen n means line separator. So the first line, it is a comma separated values in a string. Okay. So if we want to generate that, let's create a variable as we are using input output. Call function string IO and then provide this data set. Execute. So when you call this data, data IO, so you can see now We are not getting. What happened? Okay, so this is the string IO. But if you want to read this, you need to convert this into CSV file. Means you need to use read underscore CSV function, and that function belongs to PD. So we need to call PD. So for that, let's create a variable to hold that data called panda. From panda, call read underscore CSV, because this data is in the comma separated value CSV file format. Okay, in the string. So let's call CSV and then provide this variable IO. Execute, call df. Okay, so the same data we can see in the table form. Clear? When you are working with pandas or any table, and in that table, suppose there are some values with missing values or NA values. Sometimes what happen, like such kind of data you have where we have generated some data. Yeah, here. Suppose some values are not properly mentioned, they are just NaN values, and you need to find such kind of values. Or if you are performing a statistical analysis, then these kind of values will definitely um, lead problem, right? So in that case, either you need to remove these all values, or just need to neglect these values and take a summary of this or take a statistical analysis. So that time what you can do in such kind of data, you can use functions, like you can call this data. Here data frame name is df itself, right? So df, and then first you need to check is null means, is there is any null value or missing value in that data frame. If yes, then you can execute the message, or missing values you can calculate by calling sum function along with this. So sum will give you total how many values are there. And if you don't want that values, you can fill that missing values with a mean of respective values. Means suppose you have here 5.1, 3.4, or some other three values, but this one is missing. So what will happen by using mean or fill any, there is one more function you can use here, that is called as a df, means for that data frame fill any. Fill NA, this function will help to take a mean of that particular column, and that will fulfill that mean value at that missing place. Okay, so average value jo bhi aayega, that will be replaced here. Okay, so in this way you can handle missing data in any data frame. Okay, so that is all about pandas and numpy. Practice these all things. So yesterday I gave some assignment. How many of you able to solve this? Is there any query regarding that? Uh, if you want, I'll share the script in your code, which I have already shared in that. But if anybody wants to share any difficulty or any problem you are facing, okay, fine then. I'll share the script. You can refer that, and that's it for today. See you tomorrow then.